Communications Minister Michelle Rowland is criticising Meta's decision to stop paying for news content on its platforms. She believes consumers will turn their backs on the social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram, over what she calls an unethical and reckless corporate decision. Ms Rowland warns the move could increase the spread of misinformation. The decision is expected to cost news outlets in Australia hundreds of millions of dollars in compensation for their content. Joining me live now is the Shadow Communications Minister David Coleman. You said to me last week that the government needs to match its rhetoric with action.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that yet?
No, not really. I mean, we can all criticise Meta and we're all in furious agreement on that. I mean, Meta's conduct is appalling, it is disgraceful, and the government's got to make Meta pay. But, you know, it actually took 2 weeks after the Meta decision before the media companies even got a letter asking for them with a clear request to provide information about why Meta should be designated under the code. So the government wasn't ready. They want to huff and puff and they want to say Meta is bad. Well, we all agree Meta's conduct is terrible. But
you're saying the jury's out on
well, they've got to get it done.
They're doing
I mean, we got it done. It's the bottom line. Like, all that matters is the outcome. And the government talks a lot about process, and process is important, but more important than process is the outcome. I mean, another example is scams on Meta. The ACCC in November 2022 said to the government to take action about all the scams that they were seeing on Meta, and basically nothing's happened, you know, nearly 18 months later. So rhetoric one thing, action another.
Let's, we'll keep a watching brief on that one. You are introducing legislation today, the Coalition. It's being called Post and Boast legislation. It's about really youth crime, isn't it? Young people posting and boasting about what they're doing. It's timely, the introduction of this legislation, given the horrific stories Matt Cunningham has been reporting today out of the Northern Territory, and some of it going to this very issue.
Yeah.
Have you picked up much support across the parliament on this legislation?
Well, we haven't really heard from the government yet on this, and we need to, because this is just common sense. We've got the power to do this. There are criminal provisions related to telecommunications already under federal law. We want to add this to those provisions, and we want to send a very clear message. If you post one of these videos, you could go to jail, so don't do it. And that's the Coalition's position, because, you know, this is just outrageous. You've got people who are sleeping in their beds, criminals going into their homes, filming them, and then bragging about it online. It's totally unacceptable. And so I introduced a legislation today, and the government should back it.
And do you, I mean, as you say, it's common sense. You would expect the government to jump on board?
Well,
because it's actually quite similar to what New South Wales is doing at the state level. Yeah,
there's some state laws, they're a little different. The federal law that we propose goes a little bit further, and they can work side by side. But it's all about giving the police the tools to act on this. Because at the moment, in most of Australia, you can post one of these videos and basically there's no consequence. And there should be a consequence. And importantly, Kieran, our law catches not only the person who committed the underlying crime, but also the person who's filming it and posting it.
Yeah, no,
you've got to get both of them.
It seems a no-brainer, but you're also going to empower the E-Safety Commissioner to take down this stuff.
Yeah, so at the moment...
So they don't have that power now?
Don't have a clear power to do that now. So this will give her very clear power. So we call it criminal activity material. And if there's criminal activity material, if the E-Safety Commissioner sees it, issue an order to the social media companies, they've got to take it down and big fines if they don't.
And just finally, the polling today, it has not much movement, but still the Coalition needs to make a bit more ground. What's your read on where things are a year out from the next election?
Well, I think the government's under a lot of pressure. You know, people are still waiting for their $275 power price reduction. You know, they see Mr Albanese off on, you know, doing The Voice and all these things that he wants to do. But this is a guy who has not delivered, and he's a weak leader. And people want strength in their leadership. They don't want someone who's just going to flap in the breeze. And they're getting increasingly sick of this government, and we're seeing that reflected.
David Coleman, thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Kieran.